Everyone, we're going to start this at 6:30, which is just a few seconds away. I'd like to welcome everybody who's here tonight and those of you that are online. I'm Bert Galt, president of the branch of our local branch, and assisting us tonight is Michelle Dunn and Mary Johnson. For those of you that don't know what the branch is, we've served the community for 110 years, and I'm honored to co-host this opportunity for folks to learn more about the candidates for the school board. I want to thank the district and Fremont School for hosting the event tonight. Scott McIntosh, our event moderator, who will ask questions of the candidates, is no stranger to our community. Scott is the opinion editor for the Idaho Statesman. He has been a journalist for 27 years and has been an Idaho since 2006. When he and his wife purchased the Kuna News weekly newspaper, which they only operated for 5 years. He is pleased to be back in Kuna, which holds a special place in his heart. Scott, something over to you.
Bert. All right, well, good evening, and thank you all for joining us tonight for this forum for the candidates running for Kuna School Board Zones 3 and 4. I want to thank the Kuna School District for inviting me to moderate tonight's forum, and thank you to the Kuna Grange for co-hosting tonight's forum. Let me start by introducing the candidates running in Zone 3 are Trustee Bruce, Eleanor Hurst, and Sally Ann MacArthur, and running in Zone 4 are Mike Ambler and Ken Nixon. And right up front, I do need to make a couple of disclosures in the spirit of full transparency. Having lived in Kuna for several years, heavily and previously, I have had the pleasure of having dealings with a couple of the candidates in the past. Eleanor Hurst used to work with me at the Kuna News about 10 years ago, and we worked briefly together at the Idaho West Review. And Ken Nixon was my older son's 3rd grade teacher about 11 years ago. There's probably many people say that. All right, we're going to start today's forum with opening remarks by each of the candidates, for which they will have a minute and a half. And then I will ask a series of questions that were submitted in advance by parents and stakeholders solicited by the school district on behalf of the event organizers. Each candidate will have 1 minute to answer each question so that we may get to as many topics as possible. Keeping the time will be Michelle Young or Bert Young. One or the other. They will hold up a yellow paddle, and there's 15 seconds left in your time, and then a red paddle when the time has expired. So please keep an eye on them, and please respect the time limits. We'll finish with closing remarks from each of the candidates. Again, you'll have a minute and a half for each closing statement. We're going to start with opening statements, and we'll begin with Trustee Bruce. You'll have a minute now.
Can you hear me? All right, so I'm Trustee Bruce. I'm running for candidate in Zone 3, and I am just honored to be ready because I feel like with parents in the community and to grow up in the community, talk to the parents, they really don't feel represented at the district anymore. And so I decided to step up and just to be that parental voice that I feel like parents were talking about things we did and maybe to bridge the gap between board and parents. And then also to really just kind of focus on also having the teachers have a parental voice, because as teachers, they don't get that voice as a parent. They feel like they just are a teacher, and so they don't have that parental voice to help them feel like they can speak up or say things as well with their kids. It's more just a one-sided deal for them. And then also focus on education. I feel like that's kind of impossible with going through curriculum and just seeing things that I have read based on textbooks and that sort of thing, and education is kind of lost. So those are the reasons why I'm ready. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Eleanor Hurst, and then Matt.
Hi, my name is Eleanor Hurst. Can you all hear me? I'm a wife, mom, realtor, and community volunteer. I've been involved in the Kuna School District education system for over 13 years. As a parent, I volunteered weekly within the schools and classrooms, and I worked in the Kuna Middle School for a community department. I've also been a volunteer and board member in various youth sports programs throughout Kuna. I'm currently an active member in the Superintendent's Advisory Council, and I have been for the past 7 years. My number one priority is supporting the education, safety, and well-being of all students in our district, as well as the support, safety, and well-being of our students, of our school staff and teachers. I believe our students deserve the best education and support that we can offer them so that they can be successful now and in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Sally Parker.
My name is Sally Parker, and I have lived in Kuna for the past 14 years. I have a son that is a senior in high school and a daughter that is a 7th grader at this school. And for the past 8 years, I have had the opportunity to serve on the Kuna School Board. And during that time, I have seen the leadership that goes into finding opportunities for all of the children in the Kuna School District, wherever their interests may lay, and whatever backgrounds they may come from. Some of the ideas that I have been able to help realize are the one-to-one Chromebooks for each of our students, the expansion of the dual language program, support of FFA, and the continued leadership that is needed for that great program. We are the first school in Idaho to have the JROTC for the Air Force. I thought that was pretty exciting. Swan Falls High School, I was able to be a part of the vision and the creation of that amazing school. And that's a perfect example of how the students in our district have the opportunities for their interests, whether it's in trade or technology, and not necessarily to go on to college. I think that's an amazing opportunity for their bright futures. We've worked with the city so that we can push for smart development in Kuna. And we've been able to lower the tax rate to save money to the citizens of Kuna. It has been my great pleasure to serve for the past 8 years and look forward to more time. Thank you.
Thank you. Mike Ambler. 1 minute.
Hi, my name is Mike Ambler. I'm first and foremost a follower of the teachings of Jesus Christ. I'm a very, very proud daddy of my 3 children who are all in the Kuna School District. My daughter is getting ready to graduate from Kuna High School. She's been in the NJROTC program for full time in Kuna High. I have another daughter who's a freshman at Kuna High, and a son who is in 6th grade at Falcon Ridge Church School. Husband of my wife, full time for construction. I'm brand new to this. I entered into the arena because family and friends and neighbors reached out and they didn't feel like they were being represented. My hope is that parents and students are going to experience an education system where they're not just saying they thrive, where they get to enjoy going to school every day. Start of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Kevin Nixon.
All right. I want to introduce myself. My name is Kim Nixon. I want to thank the Kuna Grange and Scott McIntosh for holding this forum tonight and letting me introduce myself to my community. I've been a Kuna resident since 1998. It was my pleasure to teach in the Kuna School District for 34 years, and now I teach 4th grade at Amber Christian and have done that for 7 years. I'm married to the bestest guy, David Nixon, and we have been married 34 years. My sons both graduated from Kuna High School, attended them for 13 years. They were the 13-year club. I'm thrilled to use my 42 years of experience in education, my knowledge, and my love of children to serve my community. I believe children are our future and deserve the best education we can provide. It is important to me to listen to all stakeholders, whether students, parents, teachers, and community members, before I make a vote. That's why I try to answer each email that makes its way to my mailbox. It's important to me to be nonpartisan on the school board. Your decision should always be about what's best for the students in your district, not what's best for Republicans, Democrats, or the independents. I'm seeking re-election because I feel that I am that nonpartisan person who understands the challenges we face in education today and the challenges that we face in this community today. And I want to continue to be a voice of positive change.
Great, thank you. All right, we're now going to ask some questions, and for the questions, we'll have 1 minute each. The first question, we're going to start with you, Eleanor, first. Why do you want to be a school district trustee, and what are your concerns for the future of the school district?
Well, I decided to run for school board trustee. Like I stated earlier, I've been a volunteer within the district for over 13 years, and I just wanted to take it one step farther this time. And so I thought about running for school board before, but this was a better time for me with my kids out of college or in college now. So my biggest thing, I think we have a great school district, and I think that there are some things that we need to do to improve it, to move forward. But I want to be part of some of those changes. I want to advance our AP classes in the high school. I want to support our teachers and help to find out what it is that is making them so they are not as comfortable staying as we would like them to be.
Sally MacArthur, same question. Why do you want to be reelected to the school board, and what are your concerns for the future of the school district?
Well, I want to continue being a member of the school board. It's been a great opportunity for me to be able to see concerns and have a voice to make those changes in the community that I think are necessary. As far as things that I think are going to be problems in the future, one of the biggest things that I can see is the growth for our community and making sure that we are able to provide opportunities and also the space for our students to have the best learning experiences. That includes smaller classrooms and more time and opportunities for individual learning to take place for students that are struggling, and giving also opportunities for students that are excelling so that they can not be held back, but can advance at their pace.
Here's Bruce, the same question for you. Why do you want to be a school district trustee, and what are your concerns for the future of the school district?
I wanted to be a trustee because I felt like there was a great opportunity to be gaps for the parents, and we go out in the community, we start talking to people, they're really concerned that what the parents are asking for versus what they are receiving is two different things. And so I stepped up and decided to be that leader in that way for the community. Some of the concerns, my biggest thing is curriculum and education. It's just a big concern I have after going through textbooks and just seeing the things that my children have learned and what they haven't learned. I feel like that really needs to kind of be looked at and tested.
All right, gentlemen, 4 candidates, we'll ask you the same question. We're going to start with you, Kim Nixon. Why do you want to continue being the school board member? What are your concerns for the future of this?
Sure. First of all, I love children, and that's been an important part, and I call it my North Star. I also am very dedicated to this community. I've lived here long enough, and I would love to make this district one of the best in the state for all of us. There's 3 things I feel that are important that I'm running for. One, first of all, is to keep kids in school. We need to make sure that they're in school. We need to make sure that we catch them up. We have second graders that have only been in school since COVID, and there's getting some holes in their foundations. We need to take a look at what we can do for them. Secondly, we need to keep, and I believe retain, good teachers. It's an important piece, especially in communities where you want to have your children going to school. And third is growth. We are really growing, and we need to take a look at the taxes. People that are fixed incomes, we need to be smart and fiscal. So those are 3 things I see.
Mike Ambler, same question.
I wanted to run for trustee to represent my neighbors and my friends and their students, their children that are going through the Kuna school system. Many of them that came and said that they were crying out and they weren't being heard. There's a lot of concerns that I have coming into this on the national spotlight. It's horrific headlines coming out about things that are going on in the school systems. I'm not going to go into detail about it, but teachers and board members that are going, in my opinion, rogue and taking our students and teaching them things that we don't agree is necessary or desired in our school systems. I'm not saying that that's happening here now, but as everybody knows, this place is growing with leaps and bounds, and it's a diverse community. And I think that we have to be careful that we don't let that diversity end up hurting us.
All right, thank you. All right, our next question, and we're going to start with you, Mike Amber. What changes would you like to see in the Kuna School District? How would you propose making those changes? Be as specific as you can. What changes would you like to see in the Kuna School District? How would you propose making those changes?
I can't really claim to be educated enough about the goings on in the Kuna School District and know that there are specific changes that need to happen. My kids are very happy in the school district. I think it is a great school district, and as everything, there's room for improvement for all of this. And protection is, we have something great. We need to protect it, make sure that it doesn't get, I guess, tarnished by small groups that are very loud. I think that people who have tapped me on the shoulder to come out here and run for trustee are members of what used to be considered the silent majority, and they're getting loud. Somebody's got to listen.
Great, thank you. Kim Nixon, the same question for you. What changes would you like to see in the school district, and how would you propose making those changes?
Well, a couple things come to mind. First of all, a strategic plan for the school district. We really need to know where we're headed, where we're going, and we can look at things, what we want. That's the first thing I'd like to continue on. I've been on that committee for that, and I'd like to see us continue by bringing in all stakeholders, by asking parents, teachers, and community members. Secondly, when I'm on the board, I've been hearing a lot of, and I think Mike alluded to this, we're not listening. And I feel I'm a good listener, but I think one of the things I'd like to see is maybe where we need to have a meeting a week before the school board, where community members can come in and just talk to us, tell us their concerns, so we can see that. It's a little hard to do that during the meeting because it has to be run with protocol. But I think it's important that we listen to the people, and I think that's one thing I've heard from people around.
Great, thank you. Same question for the Zone 3 candidates, and we're going to start with Sally and Arthur. What changes would you like to see in the Kuna School District? How would you propose making those changes?
One of the things that I would like to see more is parental involvement. And I think that needs to start at home. But I also think that we need to give place for parents to voice their concerns. Outside of the school board meetings, there are the formalities there. We don't get to talk back and forth with them. We just hear their statements, and I do feel that might come across as we aren't listening, but we are listening. But I think that if we had some type of forum where we could discuss things more freely, that would be great. I would also like to see some. I know that we have treatment for the children that are really low on the testing things, but I think that we need to catch those children that maybe are still low, but not quite so bad. I think that we need to give all of our students a chance to advance.
Same question, Kirsten Bruce. What changes would you like to see in the Kuna School District? How would you propose making those changes?
One of the biggest things that I keep repeating is the curriculum and the textbooks and what they're learning in the classroom, making sure that they're educating the kids and not having teachers teach things that don't go along with education. And then also growth in general is affecting the class size. And those teachers having way more students in the classroom than they need, and adjusting that somehow, and looking at how you can make it better for the classroom, which I know has been brought up before. Sustainable growth, trying to make sure it works for everyone in the community and all aspects.
Thank you. Reverse, same question. What changes would you like to see in the Kuna School District?
Well, I actually agree with Kim and Sally here on this about the parental involvement and really like the idea of having meetings maybe prior prior to school board meetings, or even maybe something like what we did for this forum, which is where people could actually submit questions that we can look at and have answers for later on. But a big thing to me is I would like to see more support for mental health within the schools. I think especially with the issues that kids went through with the pandemic and not being in school and being isolated, I think that we need to really address some of those situations too. I'd like to partner with some of the outside community members to work on that. And I think that there's a lot of companies that would support that.
Great, thank you. All right, our next question. This might be hard to get in 1 minute. My question itself might come out with just a question, but I do hear me out on the whole question, and then we'll go over the answers. In your own words, what is critical race theory? Do you believe critical race theory is being taught in Kuna's primary and secondary schools? And are you concerned that the focus on critical race theory and the state's desire to outlaw it being taught in our schools would have a detrimental effect on how we teach American history? In other words, do you think it is having a chilling effect on what teachers feel they can and cannot teach in class? And Kirsten Bruce will start with you.
All right, so I'm not going to get into the whole discussion on what critical race theory, but just from my point of view, as a parent, when I see in the classroom, when I see at the schools, what I have looked at, the research that I've done, critical race theory itself, the theory is not being taught in classrooms, but there are components of it that are being taught in the schools, and social emotional learning also goes along with that. So yes, I believe it's being taught in the schools. It might not necessarily be taught everywhere, but I do believe the teachers are breaking it down and doing their own thing there. I do believe that the state itself is a worldwide thing, but it's also a statewide thing. And the governor did pass a bill or a law, but it does not ban it to be taught in the state of Idaho, which tends to be repeated, but is actually not true. We can talk to the legislature, and they said it is not true. So, yes.
All right, Eleanor, critical race theory, 1 minute.
Okay. Can you repeat some of that? Questions in there.
So, what is in your words, what is critical race theory? Do you think it's being taught in the schools? And do you have any concerns that it might have a chilling effect? That the focus on banning critical race theory might have a chilling effect on what teachers teach in the classroom about American history, particularly the negative aspects of our history?
Okay, so it's my understanding that critical race theory, and I've had this conversation several times with my own children who are in college, that it is really a college level course. That is what it is. So I think the actual critical race theory should not be taught in schools, elementary, high school, middle school. But I think that some people think that maybe if default history addresses that, and I don't think that's true. So I don't think that it's actually being taught in our schools right now. I think history is something that's being taught, and I think that it should still be taught. I don't think our teachers should be afraid to teach actual history, because we can't change that.
Okay. Selena Parker, some question?
So first of all, I don't think that critical race theory is a good idea to teach to students, and that is because it points out all of the divisions. It doesn't work to build unity. Instead, it points out all of the problems between races, which makes some defensive and some offended. And that's not the way to bring people together. But as far as teachers being afraid to teach because they might get accused of critical race theory, there are going to be topics that come up. Students are going to bring things up. And at that point, teachers have an opportunity to help them to know what to think, but not to teach them what they think about it. And I think that that's a fine line, but I think that teachers are smart, and I think that they have an opportunity to say, yeah, there were problems in the past. What can we do about our future? And that's the important part of that puzzle.
Thank you. Kim Nixon, same question to you about critical race theory.
Can you kind of give me a little review of that.
In your own words, what is critical race theory? Do you think it's being taught or practiced in the schools? And do you have any concerns that it might have the focus on banning it has a chilling effect on what teachers feel they can and cannot teach in the classroom?
Well, first of all, from my understanding, critical race theory, and I've looked into it a few times, it is not teaching facts. As a school teacher, we teach facts. We don't teach our ideology. If you're a good teacher, that's what you do. The ideology part comes from home. It's not from school. Do I think it's being taught here? I don't think so, but you know what? If it is, then we need to know so that we can take care of it. I think it's important that teachers and parents work together. I've always said that when that happens, the kid is educated at the most highest. So I think that's very important. I also think it's important that we take a look at some of our curriculum and put some parents on board, take a look and see what they think. And so I think that's what I'm going to say. If it's being taught, then we need to know.
All right. Mike Ambler, same question, critical race theory.
In my generation, when we went through school, we were taught over and over again that skin color was not going to affect whether or not you can succeed in this country. And critical race theory hammers that back in that if you're black, you're oppressed. If you're Mexican, you're oppressed. If you're white, you should be ashamed of yourself because you've been granted entitlements. No, I don't think it should be taught here. I hope it's not being taught here. And I do know that some teachers jump on a soapbox and would rather teach their ideology than facts. And I think that the parents are the first line of defense in that. If their children are going home and feeling uncomfortable with what they're learning in school, then they should be heard and that should be addressed. I think the school systems, the education system should educate, not indoctrinate. And that's not a catchphrase.
All right, Mike, we're going to stick with you for the next question. The state of Idaho lags behind the nation and neighboring states in teacher pay. The school district tends to lag behind neighboring districts. How do you plan to keep good teachers and support staff with low wages?
Well, my wife's a teacher, and her making more money, absolutely, I agree with that. One of the questions that I have, and I think that it probably needs to be not in the school district level, but we have had an influx of taxpayers into our state, and I'd like to know where that money is going. Because I know that there's a lot of people paying taxes, and the roads aren't getting fixed. So is it build hospitals? Is that where the money's going? I don't know, but it should go to our school system. And I think that if it's being handled responsibly, I think the public is more likely to approve paying a little bit more. If they know their money is going to be used responsibly, they're not going to fight the tax increases as much. Like I said, I have a lot to learn about the school district and how it functions. But one of the ways is how they get their money and how it's distributed. But I think that there absolutely should be a way to do it responsibly.
Thank you. Kim Nixon, same question. How do you plan to keep good teachers and support staff with low wages?
Well, first of all, I think the Kuna School District has really worked hard to get those wages up. And we've been looking at that and trying to do that because it is important to retain teachers and to keep them. I also think that in order to keep good teachers, that you need to give them a sense of community, of belonging. You need to also provide leadership opportunities for them and an atmosphere that's supportive with the community and their building. That's important. As a teacher in Kuna at one time, I taught here not because I made a lot of money, but because I want to make a difference to this community and the kids. And I know there are other teachers who feel that way also. They want to stay here. And so giving them those opportunities helps them to stay here. Sorry, flying my glasses here. And those are the things I think is giving them a voice, decisions that they can make. Those are important things for teachers.
All right, we'll ask the same question of the Zone 3 candidates. And we're going to start with Eleanor first. How do you plan to keep good teachers and support staff?
I would like definitely to look at the budget for how we pay teachers, and I do believe that they do need, increase in compensation. But I also think that we need to look at how many teachers do stay in this area, and we have a lot of teachers that have taught here for a very long time. So I'd like to know more about what keeps them here. And also, I'm looking at some of the districts outside of our area in other states as to how they keep their teachers and how they get the money for that. Because it's not always just money, but sometimes it is. So we need to find out how other districts are doing it, I think, as well.
Good. Thank you. Sally Parker, same question.
So I've actually been able to participate in the negotiations team, which works with teachers' contracts for the past 6 years. And so during that time, we have pushed for several things that make working in Kuna a great place for teachers. One of the things that I've learned to do is listen to the teachers and the needs that they present to our committee. We've worked with providing benefits for them, including mental health support, helping them to feel heard, offering support systems within their schools so that they can look to teacher mentors. We need to push legislatures to increase wages for teachers. They are professionals. They spend a lot of time and money getting their education, and they're teaching our children. Those are the most important things in our lives. Teachers need to be compensated. And we need to help to pay for the credits that they require every few years for teachers.
Kirsty Bruce, same question.
Teachers have a hard job every hour, especially when we have kids at home. I can imagine in a classroom with 35 of those kids, as one teacher said today, that's how many kids she has in the classroom. So teachers really need to feel supported, they need to feel like they are appreciated, and also looking at the state as a whole, looking at where the money comes from, like other people have said, looking at legislature, and really just looking at the whole budget as a whole, where you can fill in different pockets for the community district and for the teachers, and just allow them to really feel supported and feel like they are appreciated within the community and also within the school, and have that voice for them to be heard.
Thank you. All right, our next question, we're going to start with you, Sally Parker. What are your thoughts on mask mandates for students and staff in Kuna schools?
My thoughts are that masks need to be optional. We have systems in place for students that have any kind of health concern. They can wear a mask if they need to, if their health concerns are significant, and we have provided opportunities for them to learn at home. But the individual rights of people to choose for themselves cannot be violated. And we have seen that we've been able to keep our schools open successfully. If there's an outbreak, they get it localized and take care of it on an individual basis. And I think that that's working great, and we haven't seen any major problems. So I think that masks should remain optional, and I'm really happy with the way that that's going. Thank you.
Kirsty Bruce, mask mandates.
I also feel like masks should be optional, but they should be left up to the families personally to decide what they feel is going to be best for them and their children. If there are health concerns or they want to make sure their children are not going to catch anything that's going around, then they have the option to wear masks. But I feel like each family has the right to decide the health for their children and for themselves, and that should not be decided by the district or by anyone for that matter. So I believe that they should be optional.
Eleanor Hurst, same question.
Well, I feel like we need to do everything we can to keep our kids in school, in person. And if that requires masks and mandating masks, then I think that we need to do that, because I think that sometimes our teachers are not feeling safe, and I think some of our students don't feel safe coming to school. But we can't run the risk of cases start to rise, we can't run that risk that everybody will have to go home again and work from home, because that doesn't work.
Zone 4 candidates, same question. We'll start with you, Kim Nixon. What are your thoughts on the mask mandates for students and staff?
That's been the hardest choice for me. All the meetings I had on both sides. As a parent, I don't believe it's right for the school to make a choice for you. It is your choice. I do agree with that. But at the same time, I'm really happy with the plan that we've adopted. It goes school by school, and it also gives you as parents a choice. If the population is low, and it is definitely optional. It's recommended depending on what those COVID cases are. And it could also be mandatory if we have too many. So I do like that plan, but it has been a hard choice. But again, I can say I don't think it's my choice as a school board member to make your choices.
Mike Ambler, same question.
I don't think that we did our due diligence as a nation before we enforced mask mandates on our children. I don't think that they did a risk versus benefit study about how it's going to affect them socially and emotionally as they went through their developmental years. I seriously think we did a lot of damage. Coming from the construction industry, we deal with silica dust a lot. That's an OSHA standard that we deal with. And the masks that we have to wear to prevent silica from getting into our bodies are pretty cumbersome. And if that big circle was a silica particle, a virus particle was that small. And you can't tell me that putting a repurposed sock on your face is going to protect you from the virus when it takes such a cumbersome mask to protect you from the silica. I think we did more harm.
All right. All right, our next question, and we're going to stick with you, Mike, for this one. And this is a little more complicated. We received a number of questions about, they're all kind of related, about how you would prioritize the different groups that you serve as a school board member. You've got students, you've got parents, you've got teachers, you've got the teachers union, you've got staff, administrators, school bus drivers, non-parent taxpayers. How would you prioritize making decisions as a school board member? How would you prioritize those groups to make those decisions?
It's going to always boil down to, first and foremost, what's best for the kids. And it's got to be an informed decision, not a decision driven by fear or being reactionary. We have to put our due diligence into it and figure out what's the best way to do it. I'm not going to try to fool anybody and say that I'm here to bridge the gap between myself and people who are so far from my way of thinking. I'm running for the school board because they had a lot of people ask me to voices that felt like they wanted to be heard.
Kim Nixon, the same question.
Good question. I think the first thing is the kids. And I think I said that earlier. My North Star is the kids. That's where we go. After that, it kind of depends on the situation, but we listen to all of them. I don't think there's one that's better than the other. I think it depends on what we're deciding on. If you're just going to have something for parents, then we need to listen to parents and teachers. And I think all of those need to be listened to before you make your choice. That's important as a school board member, is to listen to all of your stakeholders. But what really should be your course is the kids. What's best for them?
Okay. Zone 3 candidates, and we're going to start with Trustee. Same question. How do you prioritize those different groups?
So I feel like every person is important. So you can't separate everyone out of the equation because you're making decisions for everyone in the community. Obviously, the students come first because they're in schools and that's where your decisions are going to be made. But I feel like each person is important. Each individual's opinion is important. You're just going to make the best decisions for the be in. And it depends on the situation. Like Kim said, there might be different situations that you approach it differently with depending on the group, but I think everyone in the community is important.
Eleanor, same question.
I feel like we're all saying the same thing. I think we definitely need to listen to everybody's side, because I think you can learn from things, even from people that you don't necessarily agree with. But again, I think like we all are here for one reason, and that is to put the kids first. So I don't think that I'm for one side or another, and I think sometimes it depends on the situation. But yeah, I think we should just listen to all sides and make a decision from that.
Sally Parker, same question.
Clearly, the students are why we have a school district. That's the biggest priority. I also feel like teachers are a big priority because without teachers, we're not teaching our students. They have to come home and we have to do it. So teachers are important. We all learned that over COVID, right? But I feel that, again, it depends on the situation. As to once you get past the students, then you have to listen to all the voices and make the best decision based on all of the voices that you're hearing. Because everybody does at heart have the children's interests as foremost importance. So once we listen to all of the voices, then we do have to make a decision. And there are a lot of different opinions out there, and it gets a little hard sometimes. And sometimes that makes other people feel unheard. We just have to do the best for students.
All right, so I'm going to ask a follow-up question to that, maybe a little more specific. And Mike, I'm going to start with you again. How do you plan to support teachers? What would you do to make sure that teachers have a voice? And how to bridge the gap that sometimes happens between what parents want for the children and what the union wants for the teachers?
As I said, my wife's a teacher, and she has a voice that I can't help hear. And I value her opinions so much. And she works in a really tough school. The needs at her school are great, but they do the best they can with what they have. And I have to applaud teachers all over the place because they do the best with what they have all the time. Not a big fan of unions, personally. Not really concerned about what the teachers' union wants, unless it agrees with what the teachers want. And sometimes those two don't match up. The fight can be tough for things that don't matter to the teachers. If the teachers want a box of pencils and the union wants another 40 hours of PTO, it doesn't make sense to fight for PTO and road what they want is pencils and paper in the classroom.
Great. Kim Nixon, the same question about supporting teachers, listening to teachers, bridging the gap between what parents want for the kids and what their union wants for teachers.
Well, I'm going to take a look at it this way. Parents want what's best for the kids. So do teachers. So do administrators. That's the most important thing. And when we're at odds, I guess it's important to look at why we're at odds and see what needs to be done. How do we support teachers? By listening to them. The same way we support parents, the same way we support kids. That's important. I have been a member of the KBA and the IBA. And there were times I didn't join the NBA just because I didn't agree with it as a national. I did agree with what was going on here. And I think sometimes we need those unions to help teachers be a voice. Now, do unions always tell us what is right? Of course they do. But I think that's an important piece. And I think it's important to listen to teachers. Whether you do that, how do you do it?
Same question for Zone 3 candidates, and Kirsty will start with you. How do you plan to support teachers as a school board member? What will you do to make sure the teachers have a voice? And how do you bridge the gap between what parents might sometimes want for the children and what the union might want for the teachers?
So listening to the teachers is obviously really important because they are the biggest piece of the puzzle as far as teaching the students, but also allowing some parents feel like, And teachers feel like they're being heard, really having parental involvement and having to communicate with teachers and figure out how they can work together, because I feel like there's a breakdown with that as well. There's a lot of voices, but not a lot of action. Parents really need to be involved and understand what the teachers want and what they want and how they can work together as a whole. Also, the union is for the teachers and the board is for the parents. And so I feel like they are separate intentionally. There might be times we have to make decisions, not really necessarily together, but just listening to what the teachers have to say, but they are separate for a reason and they should be that way.
Eleanor?
Well, I think we definitely need to listen to our teachers and support them, because they're vital to our education system. I think that meeting with the union reps is important. I also think meeting with the teachers overall is important for the board and to hear what they're saying. I think that parents have a very important role in their students' teachings, but and in the education system. But I think that we need to listen to both sides and try and find a middle ground for both.
Thank you, Sally. Parker, same question.
I think that we, one of the things that we need to do with teachers is recognize that they have studied and they have trained and they have experience in teaching. And by listening to their thoughts and things, helps us to have a different perspective. But as parents, we know our children the very best. And so having open communication with our teachers is critical. But that really is up to the parents to take that step to start that communication, whether they send an email or show up to parent-teacher conference. If they have a concern, they set up a time to meet with the teacher, even if it's not parent-teacher conference. That shows the teacher that the parent wants to be involved and they can work together for the best of their child's needs. And that's the best way that we can have teachers being heard and parents being heard, is by working together.
All right, our next question. What are your thoughts about the recent debate surrounding the word inclusion? And Eleanor, first, we're going to start with you.
Well, I think that is a very important word, because I think that everybody needs to feel included, and inclusion is part of that, whether it's parents or students with different needs for whatever reason. I think that we need to remember that everybody needs to be included.
Sally Parker, same question.
That's a trigger word. It's a trigger word in that, and we talked about this in the school board meeting recently. It generally means that one side is changing the way they think and they believe to fit somebody else's agenda or their thoughts and feelings. And I think that we need to just go back to kindness and respect for one another. And if we do that, then we can work towards unity. We don't necessarily have to agree on everything. And we don't have to have the same beliefs, whether it's with religion or politics or whatever. But if we work together and we find common ground on the things that we do like about each other and go from there. And I think that inclusion separates more than it unifies.
Kirsty, the same question. What are your thoughts on the recent debates around the word inclusion?
I feel the same way. It is a trigger word because of the way that it's being used in this day and age, and it does significantly make students feel like they are not included in certain areas versus unifying students for their differences, making them feel like everyone is important. We don't have to all agree. We need to respect each other, and it's okay to be different, but not to the point where we're excluding one group and including another group. And we do see that in the schools, and so it's important to just be unified and use different words so that students feel that when they walk into a classroom, they're not excluded because of a certain way that they look or ideas that they have, and make everyone in the school feel unified, feel like they are all important, regardless of their ideas and their views.
Thank you. Kim Nixon, same question.
Yeah, that is a trigger word, and I didn't realize it until the school board happened. We had looked at some strategic plans, and that was one of the words that was in there. I think the process that I've been learning through this is that we need to learn to listen. And if that word is a trigger word to parents and to people in the community, they need to take a look at changing it. Because I think we're all saying the same thing, that we want to include people, we don't want people to feel left out, but how do we do that? And so I think that that word just needs to be taken a look at, and maybe we need to pick another one, or look at a definition of what it means. So again, trigger word, and it's something that I think as a community we need to take a look at, and parents also be on that community to help us.
Thank you. Mike Ambler, same question.
I think inclusion is one of those really beautiful words that everybody wants to throw around these days, but it's a Pandora's box. It's when I went to school, there's a lot of things that I wasn't included in. There's things that I tried out for that I didn't make. It's just a growth that I had to go through if I wanted to attain something. But if I was failed at doing something and somebody screamed, "Hey, you're not getting inclusion," and I threw a fit about it, then yeah, maybe I get my participation trophy, but I didn't earn it. Like everybody said, I guess a trigger word, if that's the new speech, but I think it's a Pandora's box. We have to learn what we can.
Great, thank you. Our next question, we'll start with you, Mike. What sets you apart from your opponent, and how do you think that difference would benefit the Kuna School District if you're elected?
Honestly, I went to the last board meeting, and I left there wondering why I was running against Kim. I don't think she's a bad candidate at all. I think she represents Kuna School District. I think she has a lot of experience that I don't have. Sure, if you elect me, I'll get it. But there were a lot of parents that said they wanted her, and somewhere, somehow, the Kuna School Board left them feeling unheard, and that's the only reason I'm up here.
Can you describe some of those issues that they felt unheard about?
Yes. Homeschooling population in our part of the world is growing exponentially, and it's because of words like mandates and CRT and the headlines in the news that are showing that teachers are taking students to gay bars for field trips. The cross-dresser reading situations in a lot of different states. And I know that we're not there in Idaho yet, but it could be coming.
Great, thank you. Ken Nixon, the same question for you. What sets you apart from your opponent? How do you think that difference would benefit the Kuna School District?
Well, I think Mike's a nice guy, so that puts us together on some things. But I guess for me, the things that set me apart from him would be my experience in education and what I bring to the board. I know some people have said, well, she supports teachers. Well, I'm a parent and a teacher, and sometimes the board needs to hear what would be the best way, what works in the classroom. How do we do those things? And I think that I bring that to the board, and sometimes the board members have said thank you for that. So I do bring that experience. I also am a good listener. And even though I know I've heard from people that are not listening, I really am. And I want to continue to listen. I want to continue to make this a great community. So I do that. And then I think I've had experience serving on the board for 5 years, what that's like. And then also the money situation and where we need to go as a school district.
Thank you. Same question for the Zone 3 candidates, and we'll start with you, Sally Carter.
I'm willing to ask questions. am willing to have discussions and have hard conversations with whether it be the district leaders or with teachers or with parents. I'm not afraid to talk about my feelings and the things that I've done for in the past. I do have 8 years of experience working for the board. There isn't really much training that you can get outside of a school board to be on the school board. It comes as you serve, and it has been an amazing opportunity, and I'm grateful for those that have mentored me. But having said that, and having met the other candidates tonight, I think they're great too, and they have great ideas and a passion for children, and that's what you need for to be on a member of the school board. So, do I think I'm the best person for the job? Probably not, but I know that I will give my very best to serving as a board years if you give me the chance. Thank you.
Trustee Bruce, any question for you?
Well, I do feel like it would be a great honor to serve on the board, making a change that parents feel like they need in the community. The board itself has done a great job with a lot of things in the community, and I appreciate everything that they've done with them. And they are really nice, amazing people. I just feel like it would be a great way to kind of break up what's been going on and help the parents and the teachers and the students kind of feel like they're all brought together. I'm the same way. I ask hard questions. I can say no when I need to. I can stop things and think about them if I need extra time. You know, I'm not afraid to ask or speak out if I need to. And so I think that's a great quality to have in a board member. That's what you need. You know, someone that's going to ask questions and not just go with the flow and say yes all the time. And that's something that I would bring to the board as well.
Eleanor Hurst, any question?
Well, I think that I have a lot of experience within the Kuna School District. I have 2 children who have gone on to the school district and both graduated. Other college students, so I also know what is required beyond high school and what our school district needs to do to support our children and all of that. I've also been a board member through Optimist football, and I volunteered, like I said earlier, in all the classrooms. I've talked to a lot of teachers over the years. And I think that, like the other candidates, I think I'm a really good listener too. I like to do a lot of research and communicate with people, parents, teachers, students as well, and past students, so that I can have a well-rounded view of what the questions are and what needs to be done.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move to closing statements. You'll each have a minute and a half for closing remarks, and we're going to go from this way to that way. So get a minute to started.
Yeah. Well, in closing, I just want to thank the Grange and Scott again for this opportunity. I think it's always good to listen and to discuss issues. That's important. It's what made our country great. I'm running because I love kids, and I want them to have a quality education here in Kuna. I truly want to get back to educating students. I want to get back to a place where we can all listen to each other and decide what's best for them. I had mentioned before, and I'm going to go over my top 3 priorities, is keeping kids in school. It's catching them up because of the COVID. It's helping them both socially and academically. We have students in second grade, as I stated, who have not even been to school without COVID. They've got some serious holes. I truly believe that the next few years, the policies we make will make a difference, and I want to be part of that. I feel like bring that expertise to them. I also want to hire and retain good teachers. It's important to listen to teachers. They're the ones who make the difference every day. And the last thing is growth. We're growing so fast out here. We have people on fixed incomes. They're growing. We need to be fiscally smart. As a board, we worked hard to bring the taxable value down from $5 to $3 per thousand. We're working with the city right now to recommend some type of impact fees. The things that set me apart that I already told you about. And I just want you to know what sets me apart, I think, is my experience. I want to be a positive voice, and I love your support and vote. Thank you.
Mike Campbell, a minute and a half.
Well, I came into this not knowing what to expect, and I sure didn't expect to enjoy it, but I have enjoyed it. So thank you, Scott, and thank you for putting this on. We moving forward, times are changing, things are getting different in our area. We all notice it. We notice it in our drive to work. We notice it in our daily shopping. Everything there. The area is changing fast. Like I said before, we have a great school district. I think it's something that needs to be protected as well as just covered as far as letting the community be involved in shaping it. Teachers, of course, super important. They're the front line to educating our children, but the children are the main focus. We have to do what's right for them, and as I said before, it's got to be an informed decision, not this decision based on fear. I think that we're allowing fear to run our lives far too much these days. I think great candidates out here. Kim's a great candidate. I guess what I offer is something different. If you're looking for something different in your candidate on the school board, then vote for me. And I appreciate your time.
So, Arthur?
Well, it's interesting to me. I think that COVID and CRT have brought a silver lining. They have really engaged our community and parents in the decisions and the things that are happening in our schools. And that is necessary in order to have a quality school system. And so, whoever thought I would be grateful for COVID and for masks and CRT, but there you go. I think that Kuna has some issues coming with the growth that's happening and the development that's happening in our community. We need to make sure that our school system has a voice. It impacts schools so much when new development takes place. And so we need to make sure that we partner with the school district so that they do it in a sensible manner and we have time to create classrooms for those children that are needed. In addition, we have been working to make impact fees for those that are building new homes in our community. This provides great benefits to all of those who live in existing homes. Sorry, this slide's attacking me. But it helps farmers, and I think that is really important as they are losing their farms because of the tax increases. And I think that, again, our students need to be our priority, but teachers and parents need to work together to make sure that happens.
Thank you. Eleanor first.
So I think that all of the candidates have one really important thing in common, and that is that we all really care about the students and the teachers, and my priority now that lies with me now. So my priority is really the education of our students, the advancement of our students, and I agree with both the growth in our area. I like the impact fee. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make the school district even stronger and brighter than it is. Whether it's teacher retention or going to legislature to fight over better ways for teachers to get more money into our school districts, because we really do need that. Our district needs some help, and we need to get that from wherever we can. So, thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Bruce.
First, I just want to say that thank you for doing this and allowing us to be here. I just appreciate the time. It would be an honor to serve on the board and to see the parents that can make the change that the parents are asking for in the community. And just kind of what everyone else is saying, growth is a problem, and the school not having a lot of money is a problem as well. The focus is really what's going to invest in the students, listening to the parents, and involving the teachers, and having that parent and everything come together and unify everyone in the community so that everyone feels heard. Some groups feel more heard than others, and obviously the parents are the group that really doesn't feel like they have a voice at all. And being able to allow that to help everyone just come together and create a board that is for everyone in the community and not one-sided for have parents feel like it's one-sided and allow the opportunity for everyone to work together and create the change that community needs. Because this Kuna school district is a great district, and I see my child enjoying the school with them. So, it would just be nice to open that up and create a better place as the community grows and more students come in and make their classrooms for more students, because a teacher having 35 students teaching math is that's really hard. So just letting everyone be heard.
Thank you. And thank all of you for coming tonight and for watching our live stream. And most importantly, thank you to the candidates, not only for participating tonight, but for running for school board. It's really important that the school board, and I know Sally and Lisa, but it's really important to have opponents and bring these ideas. So thank you for running and for serving the school district. Thank you again to the Kuna School District and the Kuna Range for hosting the Kuna Range and other institutions that are here in my heart. And so with that, I'm going to turn the program back over to the work on the Kuna Range.
Thank you, Scott. And thank you for everyone that came tonight to participate in this event. Thank you to those of you online who have been watching this event. Thank you all, candidates. Very good job. Special thanks to Wendy Johnson, Allison, my friend Ben, for being able to help us put this together so that we could get this information out and give the community an opportunity to hear the candidates. And to those participants in the community that help provide the questions that shape the foundation for this forum. Just a quick reminder, every vote matters. Every one of us. We have the ability to do it, and this is a reminder that we should. Tomorrow, the 29th, is the last day for early voting. Next Tuesday, November 2nd, is the vote. So please, everyone, go out and cast your ballot. Thank you very much. Have a great evening.